Hey people, Nate here from the Renegades, and we're back. And it's been a week since we have recorded a video together, and as I stated in the videos that I recorded that you all saw yesterday, but I recorded today, the day of which you're watching me, it's all weird. But yeah, sorry. Like I was saying, it's been a week. We decided to take a week off because of, I promised myself and Quinn and Kate and basically everybody that I would be taking a week off once I posted our film, SCP Class R, which, by the way, if you want to watch, hint, hint, click, click, it's right down there in the, comment section. You should see it down there. And, it's been out for a week, and so far the response has been through the roof, baby. Through the roof. And it's been quite the experience. We actually had first person react to it just the other day. Old Man Reacts, if you see this, big ups and thank you. And thank you for your criticism of the film. I know that you really enjoyed it, and we hope that other people will enjoy it too. Hope that you all enjoy it. That is, you all out there who are brave enough to click the link. Have you clicked it yet? You really should do that. Hint, hint, click, click. So, we're back at it like a crack addict with the regular reactions. What we're going to be doing today is some Seth Zintak. So, Seth, once again, with the Matchless Kungfu review, Beggar edition. So, is this going to be one of those weird, obscure Kung Fu games that you see somewhere on Steam or something like that?
I have no idea.
Hold on.
I've never heard of it yet again.
Let's look. The Matchless Kung Fu. There it is. The Matchless Kung Fu. Currently, it is at 1349. Very positive reviews. Damn. It looks like... okay.
Open world sandbox RPG based on a wuxia background.
Oh. Wuxia. So that's interesting. Huh. I'll have to look into that. It looks pretty interesting. But anyway, so let's we got Seth's review of it here. Let's see if we find it interesting enough to give it a purchase. Also, don't mess with this hobo. He will kick your ass.
Domain expansion, Immaculate Crack Rock. Domain expansion, Homeless Fist. Hey, disciples. Seth here. Let me tell you about a game that's transfixed and captivated me for the past many days. The Matchless Kungfu is an immersive sim that shows what life would be like if every man, woman, and child was trained in the martial arts. That is to say, life would not last very long. This game takes place in the genre of wuxia. This is Chinese sword fantasy fiction, but a little more grounded.
It's just where those guys punching themselves in the balls.
This is Chinese. Life would not last very long. This game takes place in the genre...
Yeah.
They are.
They're punching themselves in the dick.
Why? It's like, wait, is this? Oh, I've heard about this. This is that Chinese, like Chinese tenor school where they really want them to hit like counter tenor, and they force themselves to punch themselves in the balls so that they can. I'm joking, by the way. That's not real. That is not real. I'm just being an asshole.
Genre of wuxia. This is Chinese sword fantasy fiction, but a little more grounded than some I've covered in the past. The game works like this. You play a world simulation where everyone has their own desires and motivation, which you expand by putting down plots of land. These are pre-made areas containing a challenge. If you finish an objective, you can place more land, and you keep going until, inevitably, a Shaolin master breaks your spine. You're not expected to win from the first or second try. The actions you took in a past life will influence the next fruit karma, and you're not expected to understand any of this. That's why I don't have to explain to you why I began my journey drop-kicking roosters and fighting with a family dog. Nor do I have to explain to you this...
Fuck. Kung Fu horse.
incredibly elaborate system of rock, paper, scissors that is combat because the tutorial went over my head, but I've retained the knowledge non-verbally. And finally, despite being, at the time of this review, a complete demigod with perfectly harmonized meridians, I can confidently tell you, I have no idea what's going on. For being the product of RNG, my first Chinaman turned out looking okay. My very first quest was to beat the shit out of wine-stealing monkeys, only to find out animals can be tamed. Abilities vary between animals, but for the monkey, this was begging. The monkey can beg for money, which infuriates the local beggar, as I'm taking away from his local business. In this game, beggar is a profession, and just like doctors operate clinics, beggars operate churches. I was driven away and had to beg downhill instead. Then, I got a quest to deal with some bandits. No problem, I thought, until I saw they were 2 women who could kill just by breathing on me. Luckily, my objective wasn't to defeat them, just burn down their camp. This was very easy, because they took several naps while I was doing so, only stopping when I burnt down their mattress. So they left and started harassing the locals. As it turns out, one of the bandits had the charitable perk, which meant that she would rob the local store, beat up the owner, and donate all her savings directly to my monkey. I made a lot of money from the bandit monkey pipeline, and I found the constant brawls to be very entertaining, until it wasn't, and the store owner was dead on the floor. I realized I had to do something, or I was going to lose a lot more NPCs. I lured the 2 bandits into a non-lethal sparring competition, broke their strength, quickly rested, and jumped them again before they could recover. This bumped up my reputation, and I was offered a selection of different schools of martial arts. Naturally, I chose to join the drunken sect. Not only did I get a bunch of skills that are simple enough that even I can reliably combo, I also got informed that I had a secret admirer. Who, may I ask? Well, the person telling me, and just like that, I had a significant other. She sleeps on the floor. Sorry, honey, the bed is reserved for me and the monkey. As we lay together and pick lice out of each other's hair, our bond strengthens. Following cultivation
You have some weird fantasy, Seth.
tropes, you can attend auctions to bid on rare and expensive items. Every time someone makes a bid for an item or increases their bid, the other guests become more jealous. If you let this play out in the background in its entirety, everyone...
I love the little facial emojis that pop up, like the old school facial emojis. It's like, oh, hey.
who went to the auction is now seething with hatred and will try to kill every other attendee. In this game, you don't get stronger from fighting. You get stronger by connecting shapes in the right order to activate inner kung fu. In my case, however, I got alcohol immunity. I didn't understand the value of this until I sat down for a drink and saw a small option to make a toast. I could forcibly drink someone under the table, and when they're passed out, I could kidnap their body and rob them blind. Which is exactly what I did.
Of course. The traditional drunken fist stat. It's just like that's the old joke about it. It's like what do you study? I study the drunken fist. Like, oh really? So what are the prices like? Oh dude, they rob you blind. Really? How bad? It's like, no, literally, dude. They get you so drunk during sessions, they literally rob you of everything, and then they challenge you to fight for it at the next training session. It's like, huh. It's actually a foolproof plan.
The next hour until everyone was running around in sub-zero temperatures in boxer shorts. Putting down enough normal plots lets you place special plots such as towns. Soon as I entered, two men started bickering because one had slept with the other's wife. I intervened against infidelity, but a little too strongly because he was now dead. I sat down at the bar to continue my drunken robbery when the same woman who committed adultery tried to seduce me. Honoring my beloved, I rejected her advances, so she threatened to kill me if I said no. And she did, because she's got 12k vigor. So I reloaded and tried to beg for forgiveness. Instead, she let me off lightly by breaking my legs. The irony of the situation is that she owned the town clinic and would help treat my crippling disability the next day. I lived a good life. I trained hard. And despite that, I am surrounded by sociopaths that could kill me on a whim. I hate this place. I'm gonna go parkour across water. Going far north in the map is how you get captured and imprisoned. This is not a bad thing. This is how you unlock your second and third character slots. As said before, you're not meant to win on the first try. Or rather, you're not the main character. The protagonist of this story is your ancestors. Quick briefing on power levels. Everything is about vigor, which is how much punishment you can take. No matter how good you are at finessing the combat and exploiting meridians, your starting character's vigor will cap off at around 2k. So for reference, at your absolute peak, you are half as strong as a giant toad. How do we remedy this? Genetics. Much like a trailer park is much more of a gene pond than a gene pool, your choice of partner has consequences focuses on your child's pedigree. You need to choose the right Chinaman or China woman to chintegrate into your lineage. If you're the offspring of a
wow
leader, you're born with 2k extra vigor. That's nice, but we need to go even.
Can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm pretty sure there was.
Harder. There are many myths, many legends. In
Amaterasu? What the fuck?
high school, we used to nipple cripple each other. If you're not familiar, that's where you grab both nipples and twist painfully, usually in the changing room when they're most vulnerable. Until one of our friends told us that's how a kid got nipple cancer, because he got nipple crippled too often and it became a tumor. We knew the story was bullshit, but we were scared, and we never did it again. Similarly, I heard tales of people hitting 30k vigor, and I think I know how. Some call it intuition. I call it reading a guide on Steam. Karma are objectives you complete during life that allow you to take different blessings in the next. Our objective, Pristine Birthright, requires the following: 30 lovers, 30 grudges, or 1,000,000 gold. Gold is out of question, so I went with 30 grudges instead. For reference, the worst thing you can do to someone is destroying their kung fu. Understandably, beating someone so hard they forget how to move creates a lot of animosity. At first, I was non-lethal and just battled people, stole their kung fu, and locked them in a cage. This got problematic very quickly. I would imprison someone's mother, so their daughter would show up and start breaking the cage from outside, trying to rescue them. So I had to knock her out, put her in another cage, only to see the mother try to break out from inside to rescue her daughter. Everyone started bonding over their shared predicament, became friends, and tried to make a prison break. Eventually, it was too much, so I had to start taking heads. All I wanted was 30 enemies, but it seems now I'm going to need 30 body bags. This was a problem because I couldn't keep track of the people I killed and their relations to one another. I accidentally killed off someone's parent, only to find out their daughter had 12k vigor and was chasing me across the land. I died several times and had to reload. The only way I was going to survive was by friendship, and paying the master of my sect 1,000 gold to beat the shit out of her. As I took her head, I realized, why do I even need this karma quest when I have a small army that can finish the entire game? There are no words to describe the experience of combat when your fights are stacked 20 against 1, except incredibly fair. I thought I was invincible, but I flew too close to the sun. You see, slowly, over time, my army kept taking internal injuries, but their AI wouldn't let them go to a clinic for treatment, and I didn't pay attention. Suddenly, some of them died, which caused their friends to blame me for their death, which forced me to fight them. But then, they died, and my other companions attacked me. My failure cascade was out of control, and I died at the hands of my own men. I thought I was girl boss of this empire, but in truth, I was nothing but the boss baby. I looked back on the footage to figure out exactly where it all went wrong, and surprisingly, it wasn't inflicted injuries. No, what happened was I ate shit to see what happens, and I saw the animation, and I thought it was really funny. However, my dysentery gave me a stack of poison gas, which spreads from close contact. My army was exclusively in close contact, so the cause of death of everyone, and myself included, was my own excrement. But it turned out I made enough enemies in this life that I finished my karma quest. Pristine Birthright gives you the single biggest power spike in the game, if you can actually use it. If I could figure it out, I'm sure you can too. In case you do this yourself, I found out I didn't actually need grudges, and I could have just marked 30 people as enemies. Turns out, force-feeding people shit, gouging out their eyes, and repeatedly breaking their legs was completely unnecessary, and says a lot more about myself. My unscrupulous actions would come to haunt me for my third character, as I start with ill fate, which means I'm more likely to be struck by lightning. I try to cheese the system by praying for rain and speedrunning life. Unfortunately, lightning only cooks you, so I tried dying to bandits. They refused to kill me as well. Instead, they put me in a cage and went to sleep. Occasionally, they would wake up and poison me before going back to sleep. This also failed to kill me. Frustrated, I ran to the Forbidden Palace, which is this game's version of a government. This is staffed by people who are referred to as an incomplete person, who are missing their precious treasure. This is a very Chinese way of saying they lost their penis. I could go on to explain how Dynasty...
eunuchs. Yeah, eunuchs were a very prominent thing in a lot of like royal families.
He's thought this would prevent nobles and public officials from seizing power because they couldn't produce children. But I digress. Anyway, I set fire to the palace, and I was promptly executed. And it was all for nothing because my negative karma was still there. Also, I found out groin kick has a chance to permanently crush your balls. Do with this information as you will. So I made my fourth and final character, Supreme Genetics. Excellent karma. And you know what he does with it? Nothing, because I unlocked Beast Tongue and can now tame infinite monkeys. Now I have complete monopoly on the entire begging sector. This game is undeniably early access. The translations can range from English to absolutely esoteric, but the gameplay is so intuitive that I never felt like I was missing out. There is one exception to this. It's called verbal duels, and they're completely insane. This is the equivalent of an online debate, where the objective is to mentally break your opponent. Instead of vigor, you use spirit, and depleting someone's spirit will put them in hysteria, and hysteria can lead to death. This game lets you troll someone to death. It's really hard to say which single event in the sandbox broke me. Was it the time I went to the clinic for a broken leg, only for the doctor to forcibly throw me outside because it was 1 minute past his bedtime? Or was it my wife screaming at me for having an affair, as I have no option to explain to her that I have no relation to this giant black serpent, and it only holds feelings of intimacy for me because I implanted it with a love parasite? Since writing these lines, my world got flooded. I tried to swim north and got eaten by a great white shark. This came out of nowhere, so it scared the shit out of me. This was the worst jump scare I've ever had. I got crinkles in my diaper and was very afraid. So I'm giving this game a 0 out of 10. In all seriousness, if you're willing to put up with a lot of bad translation and want a sandbox where you can live out your power fantasy of killing everyone with your bare hands, then I thoroughly recommend it. For the price they're asking, I definitely got my money's worth. It's pleasant, it's charming, and there's a lot to explore that I haven't had the time to cover. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. This video didn't take that long. Many of my videos take very long, and even longer as time went by. Decision paralysis corrodes every content creator. However, my autism has been cured. Thank you, Lexapro, and most of all, thank you, Allah, for your glorious blessings each day. I have a couple ads this year. I got bills to pay, but I hope to make up for it with a garbage quality you know and expect. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
All right.
Yeah, that kind of looks like the kind of game that would break my brain, and I probably wouldn't be able to get into.
And then you'd play the one that has the flooded world, and you would basically see the great white shark and like, nope, never playing this again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I would expect to do. Well, damn.
Yeah, it gives me the same vibes as like Kenshi. Like it looks very much like a kind of. I mean, it sort of has like at least goals and stuff in place to start with, I guess, but kind of looks like a, you know, play it your own way, sandboxy type thing that I probably would end up playing for a few minutes and then just being like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not that I think games like that are bad, it's just not really my style.
Oh, well, it's...
What did that top comment say?
This must be that Genshin Impact everyone is talking about.
Exactly.
Gosh. Okay. So, I don't know what else to say about this game except for... Huh? That's literally my only expression I can have from this. Well, anyway, yes, that's going to do it. So, till next time, I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
Y'all be good people. Take care. Peace.